have really weird feet. Again, I'm not gonna show them. Do you remember KRIS, and did you listen to them back in the day? Of course I did. Daddy Mac will make you what is wiggity wiggity. I can't do it now. Wiggity 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 whacked. Let's see. Their later albums are awesome, by the way. Did not know that. I will have to check that out. Pick me. What was your very first job and did you love it? My very first job, I worked for my dad. He was the CEO of an organization, kind of hard to explain. CEO of an organization that marketed Kansas City to the rest of the world. So like basically his job was to say why Kansas City is a great place to live and do business and get businesses to relocate or expand their operations specifically here. So it was in the economic development field. And I just did like, shit work for him, mailing stuff. And this was back, oh, this is embarrassing, but this is back when the internet was like really, really new, like really new. And part of my job was researching companies that might be looking to expand and basically just getting like a bio about the company essentially. But not everybody had websites. So it involved like trying to find a website and then printing off the information. I'm gonna hear here. Printing off the information and like putting it in a binder and giving it to my boss. That's how old I am. It's so embarrassing. Then I was a waitress after that at a pretty nice restaurant, and I was not very good at that. My best submission, rear naked choke, armbar. I'm actually really good at go-go platas because I do them differently than most people do. I have really weird feet. Again, I'm not gonna show them. I shouldn't say weird feet. I have weird hips and knees and like really weirdly flexible legs in general. So it's hard for me to get heel hooked, but it also means like I can turn my omoplata into a go-go plata really easily in a way that most people can't. So maybe I'll film that one day, post it up here. Your favorite, I'm sick and I'm gonna loaf around movie. I don't know. Princess Bride comes to mind. How great is that movie? I love that. I don't know. I like a lot of movies. My favorite movie is, I just had a brain fart. Clearly it's your favorite movie, Laura. Oh my gosh. My favorite movie is Last of the Mohicans. I actually got married where they filmed that movie. It really is my favorite movie. I just blanked on it for a second. If you had to choose one Pop-Tart for the rest of your life, what flavor? Cherry, obviously. Have you ever been to Idaho Falls? Idaho, I have not, but I've been to Boise, and Boise's amazing, and I would live in Boise in a heartbeat. Favorite challenge against DC? Literally anything. I would compete against DC in anything. I love winning against that man. Would you ever compete in a grappling only competition? I would love to do a combat jiu-jitsu competition because honestly, my jiu-jitsu game is not really very well suited for gi competitions. I haven't spent that much time in the gi, which is why I'm not like belted super high. I'm just a purple belt, even though I've been doing jiu-jitsu like 15 years. So yeah, I don't really have a sport BJJ style. It's very much an MMA BJJ style. So I think I would do pretty good in the combat jiu-jitsu realm if we could find something to set that up. Do you miss fighting, and how many pounds did you used to cut? I do miss fighting. I used to cut from like 117 to 105. When did you start working for the UFC? This is a funny question. A lot of people think that I'm kind of new, and I'm not that new. I started working for the UFC in 2015, I think. I was working for them when they were back on Fox. It's just that no one ever saw me because I didn't work that many shows. And so it wasn't really until the first season of Contender Series, I think people think that that was my first job, but it wasn't. I was a backstage reporter, like I still am. Back then, it's just, I just didn't work that many events. What's your favorite food? I can't pick a specific food, but I really like Thai food. How long before we see you at the commentary table for a fight night? Man, I don't know, but I hope it's this year. Was it a tough transition from fighter to commentator? Yes and no. I mean, it took me a long time. Like I just said a second ago, I've been doing the television stuff, I think, longer than people realize. Really doing MMA media longer than people realize. When I first started, I was still an amateur, and I would cover the local Titan FC fights in exchange for a ticket where I could sit cage side. So I would do it for free, and I would get to sit cage side for the Titan fights, and I would literally type out a blow-by-blow recap of the fights for this blog. So it was like, then so-and-so threw a jab, then, you know, nice combination, has him up against the fence. Like, it was the most, like, I don't know who would ever want to read what I wrote, but I really wanted to be at the fights, and I wanted to be up close to the action. So I started doing that back in 2010. So that's how long I've been covering MMA in some form or another. If you didn't go down the road of media in the UFC, what would you be doing? I'd be momming it up. You know, I love being a mom. So I probably would be more focused. I'd probably have 5 kids. I don't know. My other love in life is horseback riding. I used to compete in what's called eventing, which is like 3 different competitions, but they score all as one, and no one in the MMA world cares about horses, so I'm gonna stop talking about it. But yeah, I'd probably be doing competitive horseback riding. Would you rather knock out someone or submit them? I would love to knock someone out. I had a couple TKO wins, and those felt good, but let's see here. Have you ever been knocked out? I have. So my one loss got knocked the out. That was not that fun, but oddly enough, it doesn't hurt, or at least if it does hurt, you don't remember it because you got knocked out. What's the process you go through when commentating a fight? Like, what's the preparation process? Oh, that's a good question. I'm pretty nerdy when it comes to my research. I'm like obsessive when it comes to my research. I think part of it stems from I was always an A-type in school. I was kind of a nerd in school, to be honest with you. And I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I will, you know, if something requires 10 units of knowledge, I will prepare 100 units of knowledge. That's just kind of how I roll. So specifically for commentating, I start with the Tapology page just to kind of get like a 30,000 foot view of someone's career, you know, start to get an idea of how they finish fights, their level of competition, and then from there start digging into the fights themselves. I watch as much film as I possibly can on the road, because even when you see how someone finishes a fight, you don't really know. Like, it gives you an idea, but you don't really know. There's a lot of instances where Fabio Charant, perfect example, has a ton of submission wins. He's not really a submission guy. He's a striker. It just so happens that he wobbles people on their feet and then he chokes them out once he gets them wobbled on the feet. But rarely does he like force the fight to the ground and try to turn it into a grappling match. So I just don't ever want to get in a situation where I'm trying to call a fight and I'm like, yeah, this guy's a fantastic submission artist. And then I'm like surprised that he's not trying to take it to the ground. Well, if I had watched fights, I would know. So I watch as much footage as I possibly can. And I don't know, I think it's my duty, if I'm going to be, you know, if I'm going to be calling fights, to me, it's like an extension of what I already do, which is in the reporting role. I'm storytelling, I'm talking about who they are as a person, what their camp was like, stuff like that. A commentator, I think it's important for them to know those things as well, but then it's my job to tell the story of their technique, the story of what they like to do in a fight. And obviously the most important thing to call is the live action that's literally happening right now. But it's often more interesting to know whether what's happening now has happened before and if this is unusual for them, or hey, this is how he always finishes fights. So yeah, I think research is super important, and I'm probably a little bit insecure in that role in some ways. So I compensate for my insecurity by going overboard on the preparation.